A lot of great things. Taking the next step, that's what it's all about.
Hey. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Happy 4th of July Eve. Y'all, I want some barbecue. And I'm not like a huge barbecue person, but it's just something about the summertime that makes me want some. So I'm excited about tomorrow. But I'm just looking at your comment. I wanted to start off by welcoming everyone who's here. If you're new here, if you've been here before, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any content. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos, because we tend to post throughout the week. My name is C'Chi, and I'm your host here at the Crimson Dynasty. So we're one of the shows on the Bama Standard Network. We actually have quite a few, so we'll be promoting those towards the end. Now, we're one of the sister channels, and we actually have two co-hosts. One of them could not be here tonight, but shout out to him, Dan James IV. He's awesome. But we do have Hannah Stevens. She's the girl. She's my girl. She's awesome. And I wanted to welcome you, Hannah. I like that you have your hat. You're ready for tomorrow. Thank you for being a part of the show. I know we always have very hot, interesting takes when it comes to everything, pretty much. But I like the way that we can kind of fire off against each other and spew some of the same rhetoric, but the way we go in on some of the trolls. So hopefully they're here tonight, because I think we'll have some time.
I need that relief. I need brought on.
Exactly. Well, I definitely wanted to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Workspace Solutions. So if you need any type of digital presence online, either for yourself or for your brand, for your business, be sure to reach out to them. They also have marketing services that you could reach out to them about. So if you do happen to contact them, let them know that you found them through the Bama Standard Network, and I'm sure they would be happy about that. So like I said, we have some hot content tonight. Go ahead and hit up that live chat. We like to keep our eyes on it. Now, I don't as much. I started to, but I probably need to stop because I've been seeing a lot of new trolls lately. And look, y'all ain't gonna come over here talking about Alabama. So yeah, we'll have to let you know. Now, Hannah, I wanted to kick things off with some of the commits that we got most recently. Even as of today, we have 3 big names. So the latest, of course, is Justin Hill. And this guy, he's very interesting to me. So he's class of 2025 edge rusher. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. And he was actually in Tuscaloosa a couple weeks ago. And he, of course, was on the video with Jalen Mbakwe, Ryan Williams, just acting a fool, just doing what they do, right? And I thought that this was a huge commit for us because, like I said, he's from the state of Ohio, but not just that, he was heavily recruited by Ohio State, and he was actually crystal ball to Ohio State. So the fact that, to me, it's not – I think some of it has to do with the University of Alabama as a brand, as a tradition. But I want to give props to the current players and even the ones who are also coming in this 2025 class, because I think they played a huge role in getting Justin, but not just Justin, a couple other guys. But I want to start with him. How big of a win do you think this is for Alabama?
I think it's huge. I mean, I think it's just proof how much people are dumb, because one of the biggest things we've talked about is how people were like, Coach DeBoer, is he going to be able to recruit? And here he is. And not only is he recruiting well, he's taking players from other schools, and for me, that says it all. And I am so excited because I don't think I've seen this many good, solid players buy into a program so quickly ever in college football. It's insane. Guys that, like you said, crystal ball to go to Ohio State. I mean, everyone was shocked. I mean, I don't know if you were on Twitter, I should say, when the announcement broke, but Ohio State fans were literally losing their marbles.
They can keep losing their marbles. Yeah. The few that they have left, because those are the same ones, the little raggedy Ohio State fans, those are the same ones that had a lot to say to us when Caleb Downs transferred there. Oh, stop crying. Oh, he came to the best. Sir, y'all can never count our championships. Not just national, but SEC and everything in between.
100%.
Don't play with us.
And, I think it's just a testament of how good a player is when fans get that upset, because they're so excited for that impact on the team. Alabama fans knew this was probably a big possibility, especially today. That was a guy that we were really anticipating. But I think for Alabama, it's a big win. And I love the type of players in the positions we're kind of intentionally recruiting right now. There's no doubt in my mind that Alabama has really needed to focus on the defensive side of the ball. Do we need to focus offensively? Yes, especially the O-line. But defense has been an issue for years. I think when we start getting guys like this, we're going to be able to get back to the old school days where we were great defensively, that we were able to get pick sixes, that we had interceptions in the game, that we stopped a running game, if we would have had, I honestly think if we had this team that we've recruited on the field in the Rose Bowl, the impact of the game could have been completely different. So I'm excited for this. I know we have several other players to go on, but yes, excited for this pickup.
I literally thought you were about to say make Alabama great again. I should have. I missed opportunity. No, like when you almost said, I was like, wait a minute, that actually goes with the acronym, right? I thought you literally was about to say make Alabama great again. I was trying to hold in my laugh because I'm like, let her finish. But yeah. Okay. No. I agree with you.
That could have been the new, what is it? MAGA. Could have been make Alabama great again. Listen,
or
I
make
tell you,
Auburn
Goonie again. Listen,
Goonie.
When Pete Golding was still at Alabama, thank the good Lord he's not. I literally had shirts made of run the dang ball, all these things, and with O'Brien and then with Pete Golding trying to have defense. I mean, it was so frustrating. But I think no one's really taking the opportunity, like you just said, to make Alabama great again.
Yeah.
But I think the argument would be Alabama's always been great. I think people would be like,
Yeah.
What can we do for Auburn?
Nothing.
Make Auburn.
Nothing. Like there's I keep wishing that there was an R.
That could be it. Make Auburn
raggedy again. That's what could be an R. Yeah, they're atrocious. No, but I think it's a huge win. I'm glad I didn't get on Twitter to see the garbage from the Ohio
I should try to find. You know what we should do?
What?
Because I know Dan's on Twitter. We should find some tweets every week that we highlight on this show.
I'm down.
but like the haters.
Yeah.
Just let me keep going.
Go ahead. I remember a few years back. It was a few years ago. I think I still have some of the photos.
Good job, Colin.
There were literally so many different I have the photos of so many fans at different schools like BYU and so many other schools that we would never play. And they were literally holding up signs saying we want Bama, and some of them were like, we don't want Bama. And I'm just like, that goes to show BYU, excuse me, you don't want Bama. What you mean? No. Anywho, let's stay on track. So I wanted to mention a couple other guys. So the guy that I was really, really hoping and praying we would get, and we got him, the cornerback out of California, Dijon Lee Jr. Now, this guy, he is 5-star. I was like, I really hope that we could get him. I was hoping that he wouldn't go to USC, but I started to notice when some of the defensive commits that USC had, when they started decommitting, I was like, okay, yeah, there is a good chance that he's not really eyeing USC. But, Georgia was also heavily recruiting him. And I think some of us kind of had this sense of, okay, well, he took his visit to Georgia. He didn't leave there with a commit. So we knew that he was keeping his options open. So I was like, okay, hopefully we can get him, and we got him, and I'm excited. I think he's gonna be one of those guys that go down in history at Alabama. Like some of those names that we continue to talk about, he's gonna be one of those. But one other guy that I wanted to mention to you,
I want to say something about Lee before we move on.
Okay.
I am so impressed with him, and I'll be completely honest. I haven't seen a player play ball like that in a long time coming out of high school.
Right.
He has size on him. He has incredible speed, and I don't know if you saw my reaction video on the TikTok, whatever.
The announcement.
But he's 6'4". He has some height, but something about him that's just got a given talent is his ability to read where the ball's gone or going before it's even thrown. He is always in sync with the ball. And watching him be able to not only get interceptions, right, or pick sixes, but to be able to stop teams on 3rd and long or even 4th and short. It has been so impressive. If you fans viewers have not watched his film, I would suggest you go do it. And it's going to get
Yeah.
you so hyped for what he's going to do. I'm telling you right now, it is so rare to see a kid that young with that much raw talent. And just imagine how much better he's going to get when he comes to Alabama and is actually coached up with Alabama coaching staff. I'm so excited. I think he will be a future Hall of Famer at Alabama. I really do.
Oh, 100%. And the thing about him, to me, he has like this stoic nature a bit. And I recognize it from an OSU fan or Ohio. Why am I saying OSU? Ohio State. I guess that's what he means. Saban is gone and we're still losing to them. Exactly. I mean, they couldn't imagine in their little small world with their we're not going to go down their rabbit hole because I kind of want to go off on some of the trolls because I know they're in the comments. I haven't looked yet, but I will.
Oh, they're there.
Yeah, well, they can stay. Y'all, look, Alabama fans, let them know what time it is because, like, we're Alabama. But shout out to Dijon Lee. His athleticism, that's something that you can't really compare, especially on a high school transitioning to college. Like, to me, this is a guy you would almost think that he had been in college for at least a year or two, and he's just transferred in from it's very rare, but he's one of those rare guys that you know, like you said, like he's going to go down in Alabama history. But also, we also picked up a tight end, Kaleb Edwards. So that's a huge win for us as well. From an offensive perspective, now this guy, he's also out of California. This guy is huge, 6'6", over 200 pounds. He was heavily recruited by Auburn, Raggedy Auburn, of course. Of course, he wasn't going to choose them. He was also recruited by Oregon and Texas, of course, coming from the West Coast. You know, I think that it was a combination of things, not just Coach DeBoer coming to Alabama, but just the shakeup amongst the conferences that really, I think that worked to our advantage to some degree when it comes to getting those West Coast guys, because the advantage is having Coach DeBoer. Because I bet you if he would have stayed at Washington, there's a very good chance that some of these California guys that we're seeing come to Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Like, they would have probably considered Washington. So I think it speaks volumes. And shout out to Coach DeBoer because he's been doing excellent on the recruiting trail.
Well, I want to piggyback off that before I talk about Edwards. Actually, a lot of people don't know that Dijon Lee was actually heavily recruited by Washington when Kalen DeBoer was there. So he is a guy that they were constantly analyzing, constantly wanting. And so it says a lot. And that's why I want to reiterate what you said, because it says a lot about DeBoer. When players are willing to recommit to a program that he's now the head coach at, right? Because a lot of players, you know, they buy into the university, they buy into the tradition, the legacy, whatever. But these players that have chosen to continue to be recruited by DeBoer has shown just how good of a guy he is, but also how good of a recruiter he is. So, I mean, I am excited about Edwards also because when you look at him, when you watch him play, there's not really much to nitpick about. And he's got such a good size, especially for a tight end, right? I mean, he's a beast. And, you know, for me, I will say that I'm glad that we have a guy like Edwards now than we did a couple of years ago, because one of the few negative things you can say about Nick Saban was the ability to properly utilize a tight end. And I think OJ Howard will go down in history at Alabama as one of the most underutilized and underrated players in college football, because he was not utilized correctly. And Nick Saban will tell you he didn't run the tight ends. He didn't do enough for them. He didn't utilize them enough. And so to have a guy with DeBoer's mindset, especially with his play calling, he's a perfect fit for this. And we need players. I don't know if you watched his high school film. He's willing to block. He's willing to do other things to help his team win games. And that's the type of selfless leader and player we need on the team.
And see, on top of that, and I like what you said, on top of that, the ability to block, but not just that. When you think about last year, you think about like the Miles Kitselman, Robbie Oates, CJ Dupree, Danny Lewis Jr., for example. I feel like we could have utilized them more. I feel like they could have been more pivotal. And what I started to notice towards maybe like the middle of the season and even towards the end is we started, you know, and I wanted to see that double tight formation. I wanted to see two tight ends out there because I felt like you always have an advantage with the tight ends. I don't want to see one of our running backs or one of our wide receivers out there blocking. I just don't want to see that. I would rather see them down that field, but I want to see one of these tight ends use their size to block. You know,
unless you're Najee Harris. I mean, honestly,
Yeah, but even then, like
Yeah.
I don't want to take that risk. I mean,
Sure.
I feel like,
You're like putting your best player on punt return.
yeah.
You're like,
Exactly. I mean,
mm,
that doesn't logically make sense to me, especially because we have such a wide variety of guys that we could put back there in that, so I don't know, but I think with this offensive scheme that we're going to have, I
sure.
definitely think that we're going to see some positive
I agree.
changes. Now, there were two other names that came up,
Yep.
and I haven't really heard many people talk about them in particular,
Sure.
but they're both from the class of 2026. One is a 5-star defensive lineman, Jakeem Stewart. He's from the state of Louisiana, and he named Alabama in his top 15. I'm not sure if he made an official visit to Tuscaloosa yet, but this is a guy that we may hear of, in the near future. Now, I know that he's kind of trending towards LSU. He's from Louisiana, but you never know because the way our guys are recruiting these guys, like you just never know. But there's another one,
Sure.
class of 2026. He's a 4-star offensive tackle, Maxwell Riley from the state of Ohio. He named Alabama in his top 7. So we could start hearing their names a little more. There's a few more that I want to throw out there to you. And I know that we talked about them last week, actually, when Dan was on, and all these guys are 5 stars. Now, like we said, Alabama, it doesn't matter how many stars are, in front of their names, because you come to Alabama, you're an all-star. Period. Like that's just is what it is, And so, you have the offensive tackle Ty Haywood out of Texas, class of 2025. You have, of course, Derek Meadows. This is a guy that I'm really, really hoping that is going to commit to Alabama. He is the number 6 wide receiver in the nation from the state of Nevada. He's class of 2025. So hopefully he commits to Alabama because I really want to see him there. And then also another wide receiver, Caleb Cunningham, from the state of Mississippi. He's kind of I think that we can get him, but I'm just curious because then you think about the other wide receiver, Khalil Lockett. So you have 3, Derek, you know what I'm saying? So I know that there's discussions amongst them, and it's going to be interesting to see because I think maybe we'll get 1.
Yeah.
2 maybe. I don't know. But any of those names stand out to you in particular?
Yeah, a couple of things too. We have to give the coaches time to recruit. Like Freddie Roach is going to go hard after some of these guys, right? Especially when you look at who they're after. Like Freddie Roach is going to go 100% after Jakeem Stewart. But, the thing is this. We are really good as coaches. Our coaches are very good at forming relationships. And I think that's a slow and steady process. I think you've watched that happen the last couple of months, but even more so, these players are going to improve. I mean, when you look at a player who may be a 3 or 4-star right now, doesn't mean they're not going to get better or higher rating over time.
Yeah.
When you look at the history of college football, some of the players that were recruited, they were great. They're, sophomore, junior year. Maybe they didn't do so well their senior year, right? And then you look at some guys who maybe freshman, sophomore, junior weren't really scouted well, or maybe they were just a lower star. And then by the time they're senior year, they had their opportunity or something clicked for them in the post or off season. They worked harder, whatever it may be. We're going to see some of these guys that are committed to Alabama, even right now in the 2026 class, they're going to improve. They're going to get better. And so for me, I don't worry about the star rating at this point in the game because so much goes into that. But, some of the guys you mentioned, I think it's important to notice, especially a guy that, like we're talking about, for example, Jakeem Stewart, right? I mean, is he probably looking at LSU? Yes. But this is actually a really good opportunity for Kalen DeBoer to get some in Louisiana, right? Get someone to build that relationship in that state. And I mean, it's not far-fetched. I mean, it's truly not. We've had plenty of players come from the fantastic state of Louisiana. But I'm interested to see what happens. But I just want to reiterate that because, players improve. We all have room to grow, right? I mean, even us, like we grow every single day. We mature. So are these players. And so, I think that what we do is not we as Alabama fans, my eyes bother me. I need some of that allergy spray because there's some of these people in these comments already.
It's all that dust. It's that dust because I see that raggedy Ohio State fans.
Spray. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, it's so easy for fans to get caught up in, well, he's only a 3-star. Well, yeah, but he's a 3-star, but when's his commitment? Oh, 2026? Okay, so he still has plenty of time to mature and grow. He may not even play his best season of football yet.
I mean, it's
So
almost
anyway,
it's borderline irrelevant. I don't want to say
yeah,
irrelevant, but it's almost like preseason rankings, right? Like that doesn't mean anything. I mean, what do you mean? You put
yep,
Alabama at number 5, okay, but we're going to be number 1 at the end of the season,
yep.
so it doesn't mean anything. Like, oh, go celebrate Notre Dame because
And
you're number 1, USC, you're number 2. Like, so what?
yeah,
Look, I'm
and
I'm ignoring the chat right now because I
well,
know.
Justin, can you highlight? Let me see. Can you please highlight Brian Russell's comment because he's making 2 good points. One of
Okay.
them, he said, hold on. Ignore the frogman. Brian Russell said, look at the way Arena has progressed throughout his career at Alabama. Then he goes on to
Yeah.
say, Arena started out as a return specialist. And that's what we've talked about before, girl. We've talked about, sorry, that's how you know I'm friends. I say girl.
No, you're good. You're good.
But that's how, like, that's what we've talked about before is how players come to Alabama and they may change their positions. We've seen this happen.
Yeah.
And then they go on, see, Saban's so proud of him. They go on to be excellent in the NFL.
Mhm.
So you just can't discount the stars players have, but also you can't discount the growth that's going to occur. Some of these players may come to Alabama and they may be recruited for one position and DeBoer gets a hold of them and say, you know what, buddy? I think we need to move you to a slot. Or
I
we
mean,
need
look
to
at
do X,
Caleb
Y, or Z.
Odom. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Caleb Odom. Yeah. I mean, this
Exactly.
like but see, honestly though, Hannah, this is why it matters the coaches that you have. Like I harped on that so much last year, especially during the season, is that it doesn't mean anything to have the best players in the nation if you have coaches that suck. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know, like that offensive crap that we saw last year. I'm just like, you mean to tell me that we have this level of talent and that's what we're producing? Like this is pitiful. Even if we had Bryce Young, like maybe we would have seen some difference. But my thing is like it shouldn't just come down to leadership trickles down, right?
Yep.
And so to me, in order to be a coach, especially at one of these huge schools like Alabama or Georgia or the LSUs, you know, you need to be able to identify the strengths and weaknesses in the players, and you need to capitalize. You need to know what to do with that. And I think that that's what they did with Caleb Odom. I mean, he hadn't even played a down yet, you know. But one thing I forgot to mention when we talked about Caleb Edwards, the guy that recently signed with Alabama, or recently committed. One thing I was thinking about when I saw his size, I was like, okay, so we also have Jalen coming in, I believe this year, who's another tight end from the state of Alabama. But then we also have Danny Lewis Jr., who's there now. So I'm thinking like you have those two along with Caleb. I mean, that's like a recipe for success at that tight end position. And you always want to have depth there. And so I'm glad that they're actually, you know, taking that into account. Now I do want to pivot a little bit. You know, as we're talking about football, of course, and we're talking about Coach DeBoer. And shout out to my brother, because my brother, he actually sent me some information regarding just an interview that Coach DeBoer had regarding, you know, preseason, and even, of course, we know fall camp is starting soon. And basically, he sat down in the interview and just kind of talked about what he's seeing so far, you know, and just some of the improvements that he's seeing. So I'm going to mention certain things that he said. I'm going to ignore the chat for now. And actually, let me because I see the trolls, and as much as I want to just go off, like y'all are not going to steal the
They're
show.
not
At least
worth it. I mean, it's just
it's not like they always want to
and
steal the show, but it's like you can't even steal the show when it comes to the Alabama football. Like you're watching our shows, you're watching our network tonight, you're watching our games. Like no, there's no room for you.
Most of the fans are actually defending Alabama already. I mean, the thing is this, like, and I'll say this about any hater in your life. Some haters deserve your energy because they just need to be put in their place and then they stay there. But you have, like, how do I explain this? What animal? Okay, it's like a pig, right? Because a pig just rolls around in the poop. No matter how many times you remove it from the poop, it's going to go back and wallow in its own filth, right? And that's what Auburn fans and all these other fans, haters are. They're just a bunch of pigs that like to wallow in their own filth. And it's not worth their energy anymore because, you know, it's like this. It's like some people, you share the gospel with them. You share them God's love. They receive it. Good, you know, goodbye. See you again. See you in heaven. Okay. You have some dumbos that are like so resistant. You're like, at some point, you're like, I'm just casting my pearls before swine. And I've realized
before swine, exactly.
Some of these fans are just making me cast my pearls before their swine self. So I mean, it's like it's not
your pearls. It's
not.
not
My very expensive.
not your pearls.
I'm just cashing. You know, right before these Dumbos, and I'm allowing myself to do it. So as a grown woman, I have to resist the urge. And so I'm telling you, I do monitor the comments, by the way, but none of them are worth our energy because
they're really not.
They're so stupid that there's no willing. There's no point in trying to reason or have a logical conversation because some idiots, they're never going to be able to engage.
It says that in the book of it says that in the book of Proverbs too about arguing with a fool. You know what I mean? So it's just like you can only say so much. And delusion. I mean, I think. Well, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but just that spirit of delusion. I don't want that around me. So I just let them
agree.
Do what they do. But I digress. We'll deal with them later. But shout out to the Alabama fans that are in the chat. Y'all are loyal. Y'all are supporters.
Yep,
we love it. And we love that y'all hold it down in that chat too, because y'all be letting these haters know, like y'all be going to tat. And I'm glad that y'all don't let them get you out of character because you never want to do that as well. Yep. But I wanted to kind of go back to just the interview that Coach DeBoer had and just what he said that he, saw just kind of leading into the preseason camp. And of course, we're about to enter into fall camp. I do see a super chat from Davis Lewis Love. Thank you for the super chat. Shout out to you. Make Auburn get annihilated. Make Alabama games awesome. There's MAGA, I guess. I mean, that's what the acronym would stand for. We got to really think about that as far as Auburn, though. Look, we need to do like a giveaway for the best Donald Trump impersonation, though, for real.
I think we have someone that may win that.
He might be too bashful to get on.
We'll do it.
Let's see.
Peer pressure. Justin.
Yeah, he gonna act like his connection got. Anywho, well, maybe he'll jump on and do it. But Coach DeBoer, so he was talking about
say hashtag MAGA if you want to hear Justin's impersonation. Just saying, it'll make you laugh.
We might get some Donald Trump trolls. We might get some Donald Trump trolls in there, though.
Regardless of your stance, it's funny.
Yeah, you just never. I mean, honestly, like this year is gonna be crazy. But anyway, we don't have to go down that path. I just feel like that debate was hilarious. Like honestly, it's just I find it hilarious. Like I think like I just find everything funny, to be honest. And so when I saw that, I was like, it's just on both sides. It's just hilarious. And then like Trump's facial expressions, it gets me every single time. I'm like, why is he looking like that?
The best thing that I ever heard. And I don't care if you vote for Biden, Trump, you insert Nick Saban on your whatever, or you vote for, Bernie Sanders, whatever his name is. I just want you to know that when Donald Trump said he looked like this and said, I don't know what he said. I don't think he knows what he said either. I about died and went to heaven right there.
Look, it was that one. It was okay. So that was one of the funniest moments from him. But then the funny thing that Biden said when he called Trump, he said, "You have the morals of an alley cat." I could have literally almost like spit my drink out. I'm like, an alley cat. Like what? Where are y'all getting this stuff from? It literally looked like two like family members that got drunk on the 4th of July and they have like a love-hate relationship and they just sat there arguing. Like it's just hilarious.
I mean, just imagine how maybe Canadians even, whoever watched that debate is how Auburn fans watch their season play out every year.
I know.
They're like, oh no, we're in trouble again.
As if they didn't know that was going to be the outcome. Like, come on,
I mean, the best part about it is this, and I'll tell you this: people may legitimately, the Biden administration is probably fuming at how that whole thing went down. But it's the same thing we felt as Alabama fans when we have months to prepare for a game and then choke. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's frustrating. But it's also the same thing Auburn fans feel each and every year when they keep having to go penny pinch on the side of the road and cashing all that toilet paper to get enough money for the next buyout, to fire the next coach. But it's anyway.
Maybe they can do like some type of like, maybe some type of partnership.
Justin, I'm telling you right now, you'll sit on a throne of lies because when you said it, I almost choked on my Dutch Bros because it made me laugh that hard. So, and I really want to get that kid on that did the Saban impersonation a long time ago. That player that was in the locker room doing it. I really want to get him on.
Yeah.
Is Jason Pounders an Auburn fan?
Oh, didn't we say that was Chris Williams' burner?
I think it is.
Chris
Chris Williams has enough a brass set enough to go on another show and actually have his name, but he's scared.
Yeah,
It's
no.
fine.
Yeah, he's scared. He's scared, just like Auburn fans, just always scared.
We
Okay,
should
well
move on from this
let's go back.
conversation. Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to kind of touch on what Coach DeBoer's mentioned. I mean, I thought it was really interesting. So he was talking about the offensive line and some of the improvements that he noticed. But one of the things is that basically they're all on one accord. He basically said that they came together in a special way, especially when Caden Proctor came back. And he gave a lot of kudos, a lot of accolades to the offensive line coach, Chris Kaplovic. So I thought that was interesting. He, kind of highlighted Jalen Milroe and his leadership ability, all that good stuff. And basically how it comes natural, so it kind of made me think about Jalen Hurts. We know that he has that innate, leadership ability, and not everyone has that, but it can be developed. But I think when coaches see that it's natural, it says a lot. But he also mentioned the other quarterbacks as well. So Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan, and Austin Mack. And he was saying that amongst all four of them, including Jalen Milroe, there's still competition there, but he likes how they are working very well with each other. They're supporting each other very well, because of course we know they're going to compete, and it's going to come down to, right before the season starts, and even maybe the first or second week, I don't know. But, to me, at least from what I'm hearing, Jalen Milroe, it kind of sounds like he has that, he has that solidified to some degree. But I think with this offensive scheme that we're going to have, it's going to be so much better than last year. But I think that they're going to be smart enough to know how to utilize all of them. Dylan Lonergan, he better be out there on that field, but I want to tell you about some comments that he made about the defense as well. And I want to get your take on his feedback overall. So he was talking about the defensive line, right? And he was saying how, especially like that front seven, how he really likes the experience that's there. They're kind of like the veterans, and how, he thinks that the guys that are basically behind them, how they're able to kind of learn and grow and develop because of those guys who decided to come back. And he said that they're very consistent. But along with that, he mentioned the secondary, the defensive backs. And he said that, he essentially, the fact that we've been able to add depth, right? So you have Keon Sapp from Michigan, Damani Jackson that came in from USC. So the depth that we've been able to add back there, it's going to, especially with that 4-2-5 and just kind of how we, what we do back there, it's going to be interesting. But that was one thing that me and you, and also Dan, we talked about that a lot, particularly at that cornerback position. So having Dijon Lee come in next year, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's going to make a lot of impact. But I want to get your perspective. So his comments on both the offense and the defensive side, how do you feel about what he, I guess, it reiterated? We kind of heard some of that, earlier, but I want to get your take on what do you think about his feedback?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think especially the D-line, and think experience and, age is a big factor in winning games. And I think when you have guys who are returning with experience, that's always important. And especially when you look at the guys that we have on our D-line, and even in rotation, I mean, this is a really good opportunity for Alabama to bring experience to the field. And that is so important for several things, not only for how you play, but how you react and how you communicate with one another. And I think something that Alabama's lacked the last couple of seasons has been a vocal leader on defense. Obviously, we have that on offense, but, we've kind of, for the last couple of seasons, really lacked that. And so for me, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, who is going to be the guy to step up and be the vocal leader? I mean, could it be a D lineman? Maybe so. Could you be looking at a linebacker? I mean, possibly. I mean, could Lawson be a guy that
I was thinking, thinking Deontay Lawson.
Yeah. Could he be the guy that kind of step? Because linebacker's kind of that perfect positioning on the defensive side of the ball where, you've got the D-line in front of you and then you've got other guys behind you where you can kind of communicate really well. Yeah. And I can't help but remember that when CJ Mosley was our vocal leader on defense, Alabama was unstoppable. And I mean, that was the year that Alabama won the national championship game in Louisiana, by the way, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. No, it was New Orleans, because we played in New Orleans.
You talking about the 2011?
Yeah, that was New Orleans. I went to that game.
Have you rewatched that game like that? Look,
they didn't pass 50-yard line.
Girl, y'all don't we talked about this last week in our episode last week. That game was literally like, I think that was one that you could have heard because it was so much that happened. It was still the BCS, right? So they were only going with the top two teams.
And that's what is ruined. They got rid of the BCS because of Saban. And then
exactly.
It's all the same effect.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. Because remember, it was when we lost to LSU at home 9-6.
9-6 because Cade Foster couldn't
But remember, everybody, I literally remember when they were doing the because they were counting down. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit countdown from 10 to
10 to
we
1.
were and we knew because I think Oklahoma State was really good. Kansas State was
10,
really good.
10
to 3.
No,
10
to 4, 1, and then they were going to figure out who was 2 and 3.
Yeah, and so we knew that when I think it was like Oklahoma State or Kansas State, when they called their name, we knew that meant that we were in. And when you go down there and we like 21-0, what? They couldn't even cross the 50-yard line.
They could, and that was the first time we scored a touchdown. And that wasn't a Trent Richardson at that point. I mean, we actually ran a touchdown. I was like, oh, praise the Lord. We actually got, because we were relying on our kicking. And I'll tell you what right now, and I'll just say this again, that Will Reichard having to graduate breaks my heart because it was the first time in 5 years that I didn't have to get a bag and had to ventilate because we were going
to go outside.
I mean, I'll just say this, Cade Foster, I mean, bless his heart. I mean, you could have flipped a coin and we would have known if we're making a field goal or not. You wouldn't have known. It was a 70-30% chance we were going to miss it. So for us to have Will Reichard these past couple of years, anyway.
But we have good news in that regard. We have good news in that regard.
We do.
So yes. So, we're talking about the preseason, but then we know fall camp starts on July 31st. I think that's in a couple weeks on a Wednesday, right? On July 31st. But along with that, we found out that the Walter Camp All-American teams have been named. And you talk about Will Reichard. So the guy that beat out Will Reichard last year, that won that award, the transfer that we just got, Graham Nicholson from Miami of Ohio, I think that's it. He was named on a part of the Walter Camp. So it was, I think Tyler Booker and Graham Nicholson was first team. And then James Burnup, which is our punter, and Parker Brailsford from the one that transferred in from Washington, they were second team. So I thought that was so awesome because I'm like, Graham Nicholson, we love Will Reichard. And the way that, he was one of those guys that you knew was he's going to do what he needs to do, And I see Justin's comment about Jaden. Yeah, Jaden Roberts, he should have been named. That's kind of I don't know. Maybe I don't know. And when I saw the list, I'm like, why? It's a couple other guys that they could have named. But what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna talk about offense in a second to go back to what you're saying about those comments, but I was trying to see. They were talking about the LSU game.
Yeah, I mean, but look, y'all, they have the full game on YouTube. Literally go to YouTube and type in Alabama LSU 2011. One of the most, out of every single game that I've ever watched, it's not even just on the collegiate level, but even NFL, everything. That was literally one of that game. And then maybe, I don't know. I can't think of any that tops that because even the 2018 Natty that we when Tua threw that pass to Devontae Smith, because I was at that game and I just don't. Nothing can compare to that 2011 national championship. I don't know. I don't know.
Let me see. Well, I'll just add this comment, I guess, about the offense real quick. There's a lot of comments. You'll have to look at them. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
I'm trying to, like I said, I don't want to get derailed just in case, someone says something slick and then they gotta, we got a link. We got to let us know.
Flipping the side of the ball, obviously defense we talked about, experience and having the right guys there, needing a vocal leader on defense. I think no doubt Jalen Milroe is that guy on offense, that he is the vocal leader. He is the guy that do I need to stop?
No, you're good.
Okay.
And then I'll keep going. Yeah.
Okay. He's that vocal leader on offense. And I think, for me, and I'll say this too, a coach that comes in like Coach DeBoer knows that if he buys in to Jalen, the team's going to buy into him.
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's so important because if and that shows humility and that shows willingness to grow on a coach's side. And that's so big with players this year, in this age of life. Right. And I want to say this too. We were talking about recruiting. it's a relationship. It takes
Mhm.
time for players to trust. And when players can trust you, when they come to Alabama and you say, hey, let's change positions, they'll do it because they trust you. They believe
Yeah.
that you have the best for them. But when Kalen DeBoer came to Alabama and he decided to confide in Jalen and kind of make Jalen the gel and the glue for this team, that to me said Kalen DeBoer is a good man, but even a better coach because he knows what it takes to be a good leader, right? And so when they bought into Jalen Milroe, it gave comfort to some of these other players who probably didn't know what was really going on, what this meant for Alabama to lose Nick Saban. And, I think you have to, and I'm not saying this. I'm not saying that, let's say Tyson, who we'll talk about in a minute, let's say he comes out swinging third, fourth, fifth game. I'm not saying that there can't be a competition, but you have to make it known at this point for the longevity of your program and for the stability of your program this season that Jalen DeBoer is your starter. That Jalen DeBoer is your
Jalen DeBoer.
Look at me calling him Jalen DeBoer. Jalen Milroe
that's
is
awesome
your guy.
though. That's awesome. That's awesome. I can see that on a shirt. Jalen DeBoer.
Yeah, Jalen DeBoer 24.
Oh yeah.
What?
Dang.
Okay, that's the new shirt. Listen,
that's it.
Justin,
that's
we
it.
gotta make that a thing now. Jalen DeBoer 24.
And then
Oh my word. Okay. Anyway, other thing I was gonna say is I want to applaud one player on this entire team, and that's Ty Simpson, because homeboy had the opportunity to jump ship because he was really close. You know who he was close with? Who just left?
Which one?
Offensive coordinator.
Tommy.
They were tight. And
he was so close with him.
Yeah, they had a good relationship. They worked well together. And, Ty Simpson chose to stay. And it reminds me a lot about Mac Jones because Mac Jones was a guy. And even, well, I knew it was Tommy Rees. I was just trying to get her to guess. I like to sometimes guess. There's one or two people. But, when you have a guy that buys into a program, even like Jalen Hurts, even like Hurts, who decided to spend one more year learning and then go to Oklahoma. People want to say, oh, Oklahoma made him a national championship player, or NFL player. No, his time in Alabama, winning championships, but also his humility in getting to stay and learn and be coached another year at Alabama is what made him the player he is today. Ty Simpson is smart and knows that he still has room to grow. He wants to be coached by this new coaching staff, and he knows that the opportunities he's going to get at Alabama. And if we're being honest, we're not saying he's not going to get a chance to play this year.
Oh, he better get a chance to play.
All he needs is 1 year. And the thing is this, if you're Kalen DeBoer, right? And I know we have longer and we know we have Austin Mack, we know we have these other guys coming in Alabama in the years down the road. But if you're Kalen DeBoer and you see a guy, because Jalen, probably if he has a great year, gone, right? Ty Simpson's a shoe-in to be the next guy to step up because Kalen DeBoer will say he stayed. He gave it all he got. He has been under my coaching, wing for a year, and I know what he can do. And honestly, I'm just throwing it out there. I wouldn't mind if we played both. If we played Jalen with some Wildcat and we got some deep balls with Ty Simpson, why can't we utilize both?
Honestly, Hannah, if the coaches are as good as I believe they are, that's what we're going to see. We didn't see it as much last year. We better see Dylan Lonergan as well. I think that there are opportunities for him, but I see Dylan as another Mac Jones, but not necessarily in the way that he plays, but more so.
I just make the comparison of him.
I think he's going to be one of those. Yeah. And I think that Dylan is going to be the type of guy, kind of like Mac, where he's going to be ready when his number is called. You know what I mean? But I really want to let me quickly shout out our other sponsor. I don't want to miss them. So I wanted to shout out our other sponsor, Whitwell Sports. Visit whitwellsports.com. They're awesome. And to be quite honest, of course, since we've been working with them for quite some time, we have a special exclusive discount with them, Standard. So be sure to use Standard when you check out. You can purchase a title towel. Now, for Alabama fans, we call it a title towel. For the Raggedy Auburn fans, we call it a Raggedy Rag. Now, what I would do if I were you, if you have any loved ones or like friends or someone, coworkers who, mistakenly became an Auburn fan, of course, we kind of feel bad for them. Be sure to purchase one for them. You can actually actually order them in bulk and have them sent to them for like their birthday or whatever you want it to be, you know, just to let them feel like that Alabama warmth, that Alabama spirit, that winning spirit, because we know they're not used to that. So anyway, I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit. You know, we're talking about the players, we're talking about their leadership ability. To me, I always feel like that's one fear that everyone, literally everyone, you kind of see like how a person operates, how they are, you know, how they react to uncertainty. You know what I mean? And so, you know, of course, that's what, you know, all the players dealt with when Coach DeBoer got there, even before, you know, we found out that he was coming to Alabama. But Jalen Milroe, for example, there's been some comparisons between him and Michael Penix Jr., right? And Coach DeBoer actually compared the two. And so I think a few people probably kind of scratched their heads a little bit at the comparison, but I could see where Coach DeBoer was coming from with this. Basically, the talk was, you know, what are the similarities that you see between the two? And of course, Michael Penix Jr., he was the quarterback at Washington, for those, you know, who may not know. But basically, Coach DeBoer was more so talking about the intangibles. I noticed that he didn't hone in as much on how they play in a sense. It was more so the intangibles. So he was talking about the progress that he's seen with Jalen Milroe. He was basically saying that they both play at a high level. It made me think about Jalen Hurts again, because it's just some of that same rhetoric, being able to play at a high level. You hear that a lot with some of the guys who, you know, they're kind of like that rare breed. They stand out. You know, you can line them up amongst 100 people and they'll be the one to stand out. But Coach DeBoer was basically saying that the thing that he thinks is similar between the two is that they both want what's best for the team, and the way that they hold themselves accountable. So I wanted to get your take on that. I mean, of course, a lot of times when you hear people, you know, compare players, they try to focus a little bit on their athletic ability, but Coach DeBoer kind of took it a different turn, and he focused on the intangibles. What do you think about that? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I do 100%, because I think that you see similarities in leaders across all sports. And, you know, for me, when you look at the history of Alabama winning national championships, most of the players, especially quarterbacks that have won national championships, are probably more of the silent names, right? They're probably more of the, like, the reserved. I mean, Greg McElroy, AJ McCarron, Jake Coker. I mean, where did Jake Coker go? Right. That'd be a great, where is he now? But these guys who have won national championships, if you line them all up, and I think one of the biggest things you could pick from all of them is the willingness to put the team before themselves, right? They want to put the team's victory and the team's success over their own personal gain and vendetta. And so a guy like Jalen Milroe is very similar to a guy like Michael Penix, because look at how much he did for Washington. Look at how he treated his classmates and his teammates, right? I mean, Penix was all about his team, was all about his family. That was his family. And I think for me, the thing I love about Jalen is that's the same kind of guy he is at Alabama. It's like a brotherhood for him. And he is, you know, and I'll say one of my favorite duos we ever had at Alabama was Tua and Jalen. Because regardless who was on the sideline, when one of them scored, the other one was the first one to meet them and cheer them and celebrate them, right? Whether it was Tua that was hurt and Jalen scored, or whether it was Jalen that was benched and Tua scored, they celebrated one another. And those were one of the best times in Alabama football history because of their willingness to put the team forward. And so anyway.
Do you feel like we kind of saw that a little bit with Bryce and Jalen Milroe, maybe Jalen's first year, Jalen Milroe and Bryce? I saw that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of there wasn't enough time to kind of make that a thing.
It was a lot of newness.
Yeah. And you know, I want to see this happen with Jalen and Ty, because I think that if we have that cohesiveness and that like working togetherness, then when Jalen moves on, Ty's like I said, not only a shoe-in, but the players are respecting. Because I'll say this, like I said earlier, Kalen DeBoer knew when you have a player that has won over the locker room, nothing's going to stop them. When you have a player that these teammates, regardless of the win-loss record, they're bought in and they're sold that that's your guy. Look what happened. And I honestly believe Alabama fans were calling for Tyler to come in, you know, Notre Dame quarterback. Oh, he's going to be better. You know, did I at some of my times think that we needed to change? Yes. But I think we need it for two reasons. To give Jalen that he needs to be a better player, but also to unify the locker room. And when Tyler performed poorly, you saw the guy say, Jalen's our guy. That's who we're playing for. And look how the rest of the year went.
Yeah. I agree. And maybe it was just a matter of, but it was a lot of moving parts to that too. Shout out to Christian Hughes. You two ladies have an amazing chemistry together. But I feel a raggedy rant coming on C'Chi and Hannah. Yeah.
I'm out to Jason Pounder. I'm not pounding.
I know. Look, every time I click on that live chat, I click right off because I'm like, you know what, y'all are not gonna like take us off course. We're gonna let's address them later because we know there are certain ones that like to join at the end because they want to like slide their little raggedy comments in, like, but they don't want that smoke. No, we're gonna wait to the end to address y'all, and the ones who like to just little peeping toms that just want to like wait to the end and then say something slick and think that we won't say nothing slick back. Yeah, we got time tonight.
Jason says, by the way, Hannah does like to hear herself talk. So
apparently you do too, because you're here watching. So go ahead and drop a super chat and let it be Benjamin. Like drop a super chat, like, because you do a lot, sir. You do a lot of talking, but I have yet to see a super chat from you. So put your money where your mouth is.
And I'm pretty sure it's Chris Williams. And last time I checked, if I remember correctly, because I have a good rememberer, you were invited on this show, and then you ghosted us. So
he had to create a different account.
Like your hopes to national championship or Auburn, it's there, and then poof, it's gone. It goes
just like that. It's that cloud of dust that we talk about. All those L's that's trailing behind them. Like, sir. Anyway, like I said, we'll wait to the end. But I definitely wanted to pivot a little bit and talk about some of the other sports. So we know that, the Paris Olympics. I love Paris. It's a little different now, but I love
I've never been. It's on my bucket list.
It's something about Paris, like just being there and like it's just, I don't know how to describe it.
If we didn't know each other sooner, we could have gone together and like covered sports.
Yeah, we could have. That was a couple years ago though. But I need to go back. The only reason why I was kind of waiting is because they had like this bed bug infestation like not long ago. Yeah, it was because they were like it's a lot of, they go on a lot of strikes over there in Italy, Paris, different places. And so there were different things going on politically there. And so they started boycotting a lot of stuff. They would leave like the trash, like some of the workers wouldn't come and pick up this. So it's just I honestly think that has something to do with it. But it was like this huge bed bug infestation at the hotel. So that's why I'm kind of surprised that they didn't change the location of the Olympics. Maybe they got that under control, but we know a few of the former Alabama athletes are going to be participating. We did get word that one of our former gymnasts, Luisa Blanco, shout out to her. She is going to be competing in Paris. She's going to love Paris if she hasn't been there before. She had a great career at Alabama, but we also have one of our former Alabama men's basketball players as well. Now, but he's been named to the 2024 USA Basketball Men's Select Team, Brandon Miller. We remember him, but then also two former track and field guys who are going to be going. So Daniel Hall and Shelby McEwen, I believe. So shout out to all of them. Like shout out to the Alabama representation. Even Alabama State has a guy, so I think that's awesome. But I want to jump to another one because I think you're going to like this. Yes, it's yes.
I want to say, I know this is Auburn, but I do want to say congratulations to Sunny Lee, because I don't know if you know her story. She was diagnosed last year with kidney disease. That's why she retired at Auburn. It's been a very hard fight for her, but she's been going to therapy and getting all this stuff done, and she actually made the Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
So regardless of your stance, it's a story of,
perseverance.
Perseverance and grit, because they told her you're never going to be able to be a gymnast again. Like your career's done. That's why she retired at Auburn. Everyone's like, what happened to Sunny? That's what it was. It was actually pretty life-threatening. And she said she gained about 30 pounds with simply just the swelling and the inflammation in her joints. And for her to bounce back and make the Olympic team, regardless of what you're a fan of, I love women's sports. And so I'm very excited for the women's gymnastics team.
Shout out to her. No. That's awesome. And that's a story that I think inspires a lot of people, men and women, because a lot of times you could feel like, oh man, like you get some type of diagnosis or you just feel like, okay, what's the point? You
gotta watch the interviews. One girl ran a race. She had ACL. She qualified for the Olympics. I can't remember what it was, maybe 400 meter run or 800 meter run. I don't know. No, I don't know what it was. Anyway, it may have even been that thing where you jump over obstacles as you're running. Like that's a feat in itself. The fact that people can do not the hurdles, but like that that thing you jump in the water. I hate wet feet, so I can't do this event. But I can't. Nothing makes me grouchier than having wet socks on. Like, ugh. Anyway,
my sister said that when we were young. When we were young, that was her pet feet.
It is my number one pet
and
peeve.
I used to literally like sometimes I would literally like put some socks in water and I would leave them somewhere. Oh my God.
No. You evil. I'm just kidding. But she tore ACL last year. She had surgery and she started walking in January of this year. She had to relearn how to walk. And she was ended last year. She started learning how to walk. And in January, she started her training again. Barely.
Wow.
And she just qualified for the Olympics. It's incredible, the story. That's why I love it. I love the Olympics because it's all about perseverance and not giving up, even when you want to.
Yeah, even when you want to. And I'm going to shout out Katie Ledecky on the swim because I did a panel with her a couple years ago. We got to meet, but it was virtual. It was virtual because that was during COVID. But she and I, we talked and it was so awesome because where I was working at that time, she is, we basically have like a partnership with her. And she because my background is engineering, she strongly supports STEM. And so she wanted to do this STEM panel. And she kind of asked me some questions about my background and why I got into engineering. But then she talked about why she has such a strong passion for it too. So when I find the link, I'll definitely share it with y'all. But that was dope just to kind of hear her story. And she's always the best. Like she literally is always the best. Shout out to Katie Ledecky. But I wanted to
Old Navy, Keith.
Are you good? What's going on with your hat?
Oh, Keith said I like your hat. I was just saying it's from Old Navy.
Okay. Yeah, she's getting ready for the 4th. So But this is gonna actually appeal to you a little bit too, because I wanted to also give a shout out to our rowing team, our girls. That we have a few of them that made the academic all district team, and I know that you were on the rowing team at Alabama too. So there were a few girls, and I want to get your take on this. A few girls, there was just 3, but Lauren Lowe, Sydney Winstrom, and Lizzie Hill, they were all named to the 2024 academic all district team. How big is this? I'm not too familiar with it, to be honest, but how big is this?
Sure. I mean, I think it's big. And, I'll say this about Alabama. They do a fantastic job of making you accountable for your classwork and making you accountable for your tutoring. And rowing, when I rowed, our coach prided himself in us having a very high GPA. And when any of us started struggling, it's kind of like a boat, right? When you're racing, one person's messing up, it's messing everyone up. If one person starts slacking, it's affecting everyone's cumulative, like the team. And so that's something that, I know it's a different coach now, but it's something that was very important then. But it's huge. And I'll say this about Alabama. I am very excited because I don't know why this hasn't been talked about more. And I really kind of got to look into this. And actually, I probably need to call someone at the SEC to get clarity. I will do that before next week. Okay. Because statistically legitimately Alabama with these, with Texas and Oklahoma joining, there should be enough in conference teams to have an SEC rowing team because we shouldn't have to be in the only reason you're in different divisions because there's not enough, Division I teams, women, Title IX, because people are like, the men are club. I'm like, yes, the men are club. Okay. They're like, women's soccer's Division I.
Is that what they do?
Do y'all know how many scholarships? Do y'all know how Title IX works? Like, not every sport for males can be Division I. So anyway, Alabama had to become Division I in soccer and rowing for them to not get, in trouble. But point is, rowing I am very impressed with the state of the program, and I'm very jealous of their facility because when I was in Alabama, we were, if you knew in Northport, like going over the bridge by the amphitheater, you see that Dreamland barbecue on the right when you cross the bridge. If you go down this road at the very end, looks like you can get murdered out there. Well, that's the road. You take a little right, go down, it's like a little gravel pit.
No.
Oh, yeah. And the best part is, what Alabama gave us for a facility? They gutted out a big double wide trailer, and we put all the rowers in that trailer, and we rode in there. And then one of the bedrooms was our recovery room, where, our athletic trainer and stuff helped. But it was insane. I mean, now they got this beautiful, facility right on the water across from
my
campus over
gosh.
there near the
I mean, it's about
forum.
time.
Yeah, I know, but for a
Wow.
long time, rowing was the only sport actually making Alabama money, but it was because he didn't spend all their money. So anyway, but I am very excited for
That's
the
usually
rowing
how that
program,
works.
and it does not shock me one bit. And yeah, I mean it's and actually I was gonna read you this earlier because I didn't know you were gonna talk about rowing, but the Alabama rowing program placed a sportingly 33 students on the 2024 academic all Big 12 team. The conference announced on Tuesday. So that was yesterday. I didn't even know before you sent this, but anyway, yeah, I'm excited.
No, maybe you do need to make a call now that we have
I do,
Oklahoma
because I'm
and
like,
Texas. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's in discussion. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's worth reaching out to, someone on maybe like the NCAA side of things, or maybe directly to the SEC.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
would call and be like, listen,
Yeah.
as a former Alabama rower, I'm wondering what it's going to take for us to have in conference rowing, because we have the facilities. Now, we always host events on the Black Warrior. Other programs come up, whether it's been UCF or other schools from, across the country. But
Mhm.
I mean, there's not a bad opportunity. I mean, they could even do something in Decatur, North Alabama on that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many opportunities for this to be in the conference. So now that Texas and Oklahoma joined, honestly, since the Big 12's kind of dwindling, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. Well, yeah, maybe you can take that on like I'm taking on the Peach Cobbler Factory to get that sponsorship. So, well, we're gonna get that sponsorship. I'm gonna get that. Now, I definitely wanted to pivot to one of our last topics for tonight. So we talk a lot about the transfer portal and the NIL. And I honestly I love talking, especially in NIL, because I think that there's a lot of improvement that can be made. But our men's basketball coach, Nate Oats, he had some interesting words to say about both. So the transfer portal and the NIL. And he was, and I like the way that he spoke about it, because it's similar to when we talk about leadership, for example. One of the aspects in my mind about, that makes a good leader is being able to adapt. When changes happen, you need to be able to adapt to the changes, whether you like them or not. And one thing that Nate Oats was saying was that, change is essentially inevitable. You have to learn how to deal with it, even if it's something that you don't necessarily agree with as far as the transfer portal, or you feel like they could do things better. He looked at it as, he literally said that to him, what he sees is, you have a situation where maybe you have a player and either they don't feel like it's a good fit, or maybe the coach feels like it's not a good fit.
Sure.
Well, with the transfer portal, that allows you to basically free up a spot on the team, but then it allows the player to go somewhere else where it, better fits them. But I like what he said in regard to the coaches, because he said that he feels like, especially with the transfer portal, it allows an opportunity for people to learn the inside scoop, if you will. So if there are basically coaches that are treating the players bad, or, kind of poorly, the word will get out regarding that. And we kind of hear that with certain schools. And so I thought that was very interesting as well. But I wanted to get your take on that. I mean, what do you think about Nate Oats and his comments? I know that Coach Saban had some choice words about it a couple years ago. I feel like Nate Oats, I do feel like he shares somewhat of the same sentiment, but he's learned that it's no point in the best thing that you can do is have a solution. I always feel like, it's not enough to sit up there and just to complain. You need to literally have a solution, or just voice an opinion to where something positive can come out of that. And I think that that's what he's doing. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think he said what everyone's thinking. Like, nothing really took me by surprise. I mean, from the very beginning, when I first started joining this show, I'm going to go ahead and comment on we got
wait a minute, hold on.
Ed said Hannah was a Big 12 athlete. No, Hannah was an SEC athlete. Technically, we were an SEC program, but we didn't. We weren't. They joined the Big 12 after I graduated. So that's a whole thing in of itself. I can actually tell you. I mean, you could Google too, but
yeah, you see,
I'll
Chris
tell
is
you
using
right now,
Chris is using his real account now.
I guess that makes sense, because I threatened to pound Jason Pounder, so I guess he had to, get back up. But anyway, yeah, it was after I graduated. So I mean, that was a really big deal for Alabama to join that program. But going back to what Nate Oats said, and Ed, okay. All right, let me be as kind as possible.
Okay. Let me see.
Ed, Alabama rowing is currently a Big 12 It's a part. It's actually it's like being a subcontractor in the Big 12. Okay. But this happened after I was a rower at Alabama. So when I was a rower at Alabama, we were not part of the Big 12. Can I make that any clearer? I don't think so. So
no, I'm looking at Chris.
Oh,
Chris,
you know
you
what?
need to get a life, sir. Sorry,
Anyway.
I just heard that. Didn't Tyler Lockhart just decommit from Auburn? Like literally every single week, y'all have. And look, did you notice that they have more decommits than commits? Like if you literally put that on a chart and you look at the trend, it would be so interesting to compare the decommits versus that. Like I actually might chart that because I'm interested. Like I'm almost thinking that the rate of decommits is actually higher than the rate of commits at Auburn. So that's really sad. They're the loudest ones, and just like the Ohio State fans in here as well. But they have nothing to talk about. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that we need to address in the comments. We're not gonna give too much.
Okay, anyway, moving on. About Nate Oats, he's not said a single thing that anyone wasn't thinking.
He kind of said,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of know. And Ed, I'll just go ahead and tell you one more time. It was 2014, okay? We joined, it's called being an affiliate. You're an affiliate member, and just so you can rest and digest tonight, you have the Air Force, Alabama, California Baptist, University of Denver, Cal State Fresno, Missouri, Northern Colorado, Northern Iowa, North Dakota State University, Oklahoma, South Dakota State University, University of Tennessee, Wyoming, and Utah Valley University are all affiliate members with programs, whether it's wrestling, okay, whether it's equestrian, but the only two programs in the SEC, Tennessee and University of Alabama, went to the Big 12 as an affiliate. Okay, so just moving on.
Hey, really quickly, while we were talking about the Dust Bunnies and the Raggedy fans of other schools, didn't someone say something about Alabama losing to a couple of teams this season? What was that? It was some Raggedy comment that was posted about, was it LSU, Tennessee? What was it?
Oh, CBS saying that Alabama's going to lose to Georgia and Tennessee.
They must be crazy. They say that every year. They literally say that every year. Like, just get a life. They almost sounding like raggedy, like these Auburn fans in here. Yeah, can someone do that though? We want to. I really want to see it now. I think I'm going to do it. I want to look at the trend, how Auburn is trending as far as like the rate of decommits versus commits, because I think that's going to be because honestly, if we wanted to look at that in regards to Alabama, I think we had like 10 guys commit just in the month of June by itself. So we know what that chart will look like. It would be in an upward trend, but for Auburn, it would totally be in a downward trend. I mean, y'all are spiraling out. Like, Chris, for y'all to have so much to say and be one of the worst teams in America and have one of the worst recruiting, like, y'all should be silent as a lamb. Like, I just don't understand the delusion. I don't understand how you can have so much pride in failure. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about perseverance earlier, but we talked about it in a different regard. We didn't talk about, okay, like you're persevering in your failure like that. I will never understand that. But see, we won't understand that because we come from the winning side. This is winners over here. Like we say that every single week. They can't comprehend it. That's why they're angry. That's why these little trolls, and I'm not going to even like name them specifically because they know who they are. But like y'all can stay mad because y'all know Alabama is like we are the best, and that's why y'all are in an Alabama chat, because Alabama, like all we do is win. Like we're winning on the recruiting. I mean, we had a class of 2027 QB prospect meet with Coach DeBoer. I mean, like to me, this is 2024. You already have 2027 guys wanting to come to Tuscaloosa. You know, y'all can say whatever you want to say about Tuscaloosa as a city. Like we know that Alabama is the city in essence, but all we do is win, and we're gonna keep winning, and that's just is what it is. So, I mean, y'all can cry about it.
I mean, Auburn just lost one of their best players, Tyler Scott, for the season. So.
Oh, it's another one. Oh, what, injured or? Oh, that's sad. I don't wish that on people at all, but they need to.
I mean, I'm trying to drive. and put Alabama fans in their place all at the same time. All right. Well, how about you not commit a felony in Alabama, which is driving with your phone? And why don't you put the phone down and not type? Because if you're as poor of a driver as you are a pathetic commenter on this podcast, then maybe you should put the phone down and actually focus on driving before you get someone killed. And then someone like me, a firefighter, EMT, is going to have to get out there and come pick your bones off the ground. So why don't you put the phone down? It's stupid.
I know. Look, and maybe this is a typo because he just said that Auburn is in the top 10 right now. So I think that's maybe like autocorrect or like I don't know. Maybe that's a typo since he's.
I'll say this.
Because certainly they're not in the top 10, like in terms of recruiting, maybe it's failure, but yeah.
Well, no, they're
shout out.
Their recruiting class. I mean, I don't know what he's talking about right now, because for right now in 2025, they're 13th, and in 2026 they're 11th. So I mean, he's mistaken. I mean, right now in the 2024, they're 8th, but I mean, that was kind of already known. So I don't really know. I mean,
8 according to who? According to what?
24/7 Sports.
Let's check out Rivals. I'm curious what they have.
All right, I'll look at Rivals.
Because I saw Rivals. We were at number 2. I don't know if it was after we got Justin Hill today or after maybe Dijon Lee. I don't know. But we moved. We passed Notre Dame. I did see that.
For this season, right now, Alabama is number 2, Georgia number 1, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Oklahoma, Auburn, Notre Dame, Clemson. Let me go to
what source is that?
This is Rivals.
That's Rivals.
So let me look at 2025. They moved down to 18 on Rivals 2025. Let me look at 2026.
He already knows that they so raggedy. Like I said, all they do is lose.
See Auburn on this one. Hold on, 2026.
I mean, they probably aren't on there. They shouldn't be.
Hold on. Yeah, 2026. Oh no, they're number 7 right now for 2026, but that's because they've got 2 commits. Yeah, they got Darius Gray and they got Kel Ellis, but that don't mean
they're going to decommit. Yeah, they're going to decommit. It's just a matter of timing.
It's just a matter of time. I mean, all they need to do, and you know what? I wonder if they pay players not to come down for a visit, because they know if they get down there to Auburn, they're going to be like, you know what? This place is not for me. And I mean, Justin shared that story about cow tipping. I mean, ain't no one want to go down there and tip some cows for an outing. Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Or get on the lake with Saban. I mean, you know good and well. And you know how much Nick Saban? I mean, listen, Nick Saban's got it made. Homeboy's getting $500,000 a year to be retired at Alabama. If you told me to retire for $500,000 a year, I'd gladly do it.
I have a huge
ESPN. Lord knows how much that man's making right now.
I told my mom. I said, I think. Well, as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's very strategic. And I believe that because, well, I'll just say this. I think that number is not by chance, because, of course, he can ask for whatever number he wants. So that's not by chance. But I won't get into that. But I definitely think that's, people can learn some stuff from Coach Saban in the way that they do stuff. I would be curious to know who he works with that, kind of assist him with those affairs. But anywho, let's see. Anyone else? I wanted to shout out LaPrentice Hinton. I saw she came up with another name, the Auburn Catbird. So, I mean, I think we might be using that going forward. Okay. Well, I see that some of them have kind of piped down a little bit. So,
I mean, as we're coming to the 4th, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just grateful to be in America. I'm grateful for the current freedom we currently have. And I am thankful for the Lord. I'm thankful for the fact that we as Americans like to blow stuff up on the 4th and eat a lot of food. And I'm also thankful. I'm redneck when it comes to the 4th. Are you kidding me? All my friends, all of us at church tomorrow are going to one of our families at church's house.
Uh-huh.
And we all buy like expensive fireworks. And our fireworks show is honestly better than the local town's fireworks show. Like, we get those big fireworks. I like, boom, like insane. Anyway, but besides being grateful for the Lord and our country and all the things, once again, I told my mom on the phone last night, thank you for raising me to know the Lord and to love Alabama. Because if you would have made me an Auburn fan, Mom, I said I'd have disowned you. I'd have went to the courthouse and changed
her straight to a nursing home.
Yeah, I've been like, forget y'all.
So I never like to like deal with fireworks, especially the bigger ones myself, but I like to kind of sit back and like laugh. But I was in the summer program at a college when I was in high school, and me and some of the my classmates, we were so raggedy, like we were just so ghetto. We would have, you know, those little ones that like you throw on the ground and they pop, the poppers. Yeah, well, we used to do like sparklers. Yeah, no, we had the little poppers, and we had like a certain teacher, because it was a summer program, like this engineer, like I think it was the NASA program that we were in, and we had a particular teacher who used to get on our nerves. And so whenever she would walk past us and she would be walking in the hallway, we would throw the poppers behind her. Like we were so bad. But yeah, those big ones, like I don't like to deal with those. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see that some of the trolls have piped down. I did see Ed D, that Florida State fan. He was saying that one of their commits ended up choosing Arkansas instead. I don't know if he was already committed to Florida State. Maybe he was interested.
I'll tell you right now, Jason, you're never going to be invited to my July 4th party because you are a snooze. I mean, literally, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know. Someone said to me the other day, we were talking about people at the fire department, and I was talking to people at the fire department. And we said, you know, some of those people in life are the ones that like poke, like they start the fights and then they react and then they cry. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're like the person, you know what? You're the neighbor who's just bitter. They're never invited to the party. So you call the cops when there is a party. Only because you're upset you're not invited. But you know what? If you weren't such a stick in the mud, maybe you would be able to be invited.
Maybe you would be invited.
I mean, all you have to do is just be a decent human, which for Auburn fans is pretty hard to be. I understand that. But, you know, you could try. I mean, there's no try, there's only do.
Look at I know. Look at Frogman. He just wants some attention. Every time I see his, like,
we don't celebrate nothing.
He's an Ohio State fan. He just oozes bitterness to me. Like, I like that Ed D kind of straighten up.
He's an Ohio State fan?
Yeah, he likes.
What are you doing here? I mean, you're not even in this conference.
Then we just beat y'all in the 2020 national championship, sir. Like,
go back and bellyache with Michigan. We don't want you over here, you little Yankee Doodle. Go back up there. Go back home. I mean, don't make me quote Toby Keith and put a boot in here because I will. Go home. You're not invited. No,
he always has something to say. Like he's just, like like y'all are gross. Like, ew, dude. Like, come on, act like you got some sense. Like Alabama's players,
you're a Buckeye.
Losing players to Oregon and Kentucky. I think, sir. No. What?
Whoever the Ohio State fan needs to get belly whopped out of here.
He need to get Molly whopped.
I don't know, Molly. You can do both of them. You Molly, I'll Molly.
Talking about he said earlier we were practicing in the sewer. Yeah, right. Yeah, y'all took that L in that championship, and y'all swam back in that sewer right back to Ohio.
Should I once again show this sign for all the Auburn idiots?
They can't read.
Oh, I know they can't read. So let me be Rosetta Stone and Google Translate for you.
You got to sound it out.
Danny Cannell, and for all y'all dumb nuts, I'll go ahead and tell you that I know Danny Cannell did not play at Auburn. I know he played at Florida State, but y'all are both dumb nuts for wanting to be this way because Danny Cannell hates Alabama just as much as you do. So honestly, you and Florida State should go along just fine. What do Danny Cannell and Auburn have in common? Both are better at trolling Bama than they are football. Okay? If y'all put as much energy into recruiting,
it still wouldn't help. It still wouldn't help.
Maybe, just maybe, you'd win more than 4 games this year.
We don't have to play players. We don't have to pay players to come to Alabama. Okay. Like, unless you missed the memo, sir, since you're running your mouth, we literally just got Justin Hill. He's from the state of Ohio. Everyone thought he was going to go to Ohio State. Like, if y'all are so awesome, y'all couldn't pay him enough. Like, what happened? You wrote a check that you couldn't cash. What happened? Why y'all couldn't get Justin Hill? He's from Cincinnati. He was so-called crystal ball to Ohio State. He didn't want to go no raggedy Ohio State. Like, money talks at Ohio State, right? Like, you have to pay Caleb Caleb Downs to come there. Like make no mistake. See, that's the thing. They always shoot themselves in the foot because they're so arrogant. You know what I'm like? They can say what they want about Alabama, but I'm just like, y'all literally have not produced anything to be sent up here being so arrogant like that.
And I mean,
can't even recruit in state. Like, come on.
Yeah. Ryan Day needs to be sponsored by some booty cream, company because of all his blisters in the hot seat.
He needs like some type of like hemorrhoid
rash cream, oh my God. Maybe those sucks, those little like when you get what's it called when what you get? I don't know what it's called, but anyway, you get the sores on your bottom. And
you talking about hemorrhoids? Is that hemorrhoids?
Well, that's not what it is.
That's
because
disgusting.
He doesn't have hemorrhoids because he's sitting on the bottom.
Look, Hannah. Look, the way that I learned about hemorrhoids. Remember that movie with Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura?
Yes.
That's what I was like. What is that? Like, what is that supposed to mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting.
His booty be sore from sitting on the hot seat so long. It's just blistered. He needs some. Maybe some cream on that.
Ew.
Then you know what? I'll say this too. Ryan Day, and until y'all beat Michigan, and I understand, Alabama lost to Michigan. We shouldn't have, because honestly, our worst game almost beat one of their best games. Okay, and I promise you, if we would have had a different snapper, different center, snapping the dang ball,
Well, if they didn't have Connor Stallions, then it would have been different for them.
And we actually had an offensive line who didn't make Jalen have to run a 50-yard dash backwards before he could actually stop and, throw the ball forwards. Maybe we would have won the game. But anyway, I mean, y'all, you know what? Let's just see how your season goes this year. Because you know what? If you get Caleb Downs, I mean, go on with your bad self. What's his name? Come on, Caleb Downs. Who left Alabama? What's his name? I done forgot. What, Caleb Downs?
Yeah, and we definitely forgot about that wide receiver that left and went to Texas. Like we don't even hear anybody talk about him anymore. I don't know. Like he's in that dust. We left him in the dust. But see, you don't leave Alabama. Like I don't know. I take it personally.
You're irrelevant.
Like, yeah. Now you're an op, and now we have a problem. So now it's just like, no. Shout out to Monica Petway as well.
Kamara, and we're not naming Jalen Hurts because it's different. If someone could give me a legitimate, even within the last 5 years, a player who left Alabama, we need to wrap up. A player who left Alabama and made a name for themselves in a good way, not being arrested, doing all the things, let me know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just for the viewers, we will not have Teague's Take tonight, but we will have Saturday nights talking Bama this weekend with JB and Josh Tucker at 8:30 Central Standard Time, unless they decide to cancel because we know it's holiday season or holiday, time or whatever. But if you have any other shows or any social media that you want to promote, Hannah?
Yeah, I mean, you just not today. Just follow me. I know we gotta go, but just follow me on Twitter. No, it was
Chris. Just be quiet, sir. Just take y'all's little raggedy L's. Auburn, like y'all suck. 4th and 31. All y'all do is lose. He's talking about, y'all need to wrap this up, sir. You're watching our show. Like, what do you mean? I told you, you spend more time here than everybody else. You need to be sending super chats and put money where your mouth is because you do a lot of talking, but we haven't seen no cash yet. So put your money where your mouth is, sir. Just be quiet. Like,
That's right.
I mean, that's just it.
Yeah, you can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever, at the UA Sign Girl. You can follow me on Facebook, Hannah Stevens UA Sign Girl as well. And yeah, I'm really glad we had tonight. It was fun. It was fun. Little girls panel tonight. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad we didn't get too
carried away.
In
the comment. Dan, obviously, we love him. We want him to come back. He's going to be back next week. He had to work. But let us know if you like the girl panel tonight because, maybe every once in a while we'll just have girl talk. We can even do on a different night sometimes, just girl talk.
Yeah, just randomly pop up. Okay, well, you can find me on donate those hundreds of dollars that you're talking about. We'll believe it when we see it. You got to keep your money
for bail money, buddy. Just keep it, especially when you're driving with a phone in your hand. You better keep that for when you go to prison.
Exactly. You can find me on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence. It's still long. I still haven't changed it. Maybe I will at some point. But it's been fun, and I hope y'all have a safe holiday. Don't do anything stupid, and be blessed. Remember to be thankful, because a lot of us, we could have, probably lost our lives a long time ago. I know there's been plenty of times where I could have. Like every time I think about certain situations, I'm like, I'm just thankful, honestly.
Just don't drive on your phone. It ain't worth it, people. I don't know how many wrecks I've worked as a first responder with people doing this, and then they do this. Okay. It ain't worth it. Your life is not worth the text. Someone else's life is not worth the text. either pull off and text or wait till you get to where you're going to send the text. Okay?
Yeah,
Especially this holiday. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Just drive to drive.
Yeah, and shout out to Ephraim Davis. Single game tickets go on sale July 9th. I got that email. I forgot about that. Thanks for the reminder. July 9th. So be sure to get yours if you have.
Hey, we need to go to a game together. You got to let me know which game you're going to.
Oh, you know I'm in there. Like, look,
Text me.
I might just be there that whole season. Like, I mean, it's just, look.
Perfect.
Because I'm not playing no games with him. And I hope that some of y'all raggedy, like Ohio State and Florida State fans, whatever else you are, Auburn fans. Auburn, don't come to Tuscaloosa. Keep your dust in Auburn. Do not come to Tuscaloosa. Like, even for that little so-called Iron Bowl, stay exactly where you are. Because we don't need that. We don't need that, those L's in Tuscaloosa. Like, they really disgust me. And I don't want them there. Like, I promise you, they're like, ew. Yeah. Y'all just don't need to come to Tuscaloosa. Like, it's already a W for Alabama. Just don't come. Anywho, y'all have a safe and blessed holiday, and we will see you next week. Same time, same place. Roll Tide.